Good evening, folks. This is Deb Delapiana, and this is your Shut the Fuck Up. You're going to be seeing an awful lot of us between now and November. And I fear that a lot of this is going to be just telling the GOP to shut the fuck up. So let's start tonight with one of my all-time favorite MAGA congresspeople, Elise Stefanik, whose support of Donald Trump is beyond derangement right now, okay? It is, she withdrew, at one point she withdrew her endorsement of a candidate because he disagreed with Donald Trump on something. She's totally in the MAGA cult syndrome, okay? Now, as I'm sure you've watched, Donald Trump's mental decline over the past 3 weeks, thinking he ran against Obama, and the other night talking about how they won World War II from some fucking cave that I don't even know where the fuck it was, but it was nowhere near where World War II was. And his confusion between Nikki Haley and Nancy Pelosi, which, honest to God, you cannot compare the two. You cannot confuse the two. But he did. But what does Elise Stefanik say? He meant to confuse them. He did it on purpose. He did it on purpose because why? Was that his way of attacking his rival for the presidency? There's plenty of other reasons to attack and plenty of other ways to attack Nikki Haley if he wants to. So the notion that he did that on purpose, Elise, shut the fuck up. There's only so many excuses you can make for this guy, okay? And it's great because I've noticed now nobody is worried about Joe Biden's cognitive abilities now. Nobody on the right, nobody in the GOP wants to even talk about that now. Why? Because their boy is going down, okay? Their boy can't even remember that he didn't run against Barack Obama, let alone win against him. Shut the fuck up, Elise, and do it quickly. Number two, Chip Roy in Texas says that the state of Texas should ignore the Supreme Court's decision on their border grinders. Okay, the Supreme Court voted 5-4 to allow the federal government to dismantle the killer border, the deterrence they have in the Rio Grande River, because it is impeding the feds from doing their job. So Chip Roy says that the state of Texas should ignore the Supreme Court's decision. Well, Chip, guess what? I think every fucking woman in America should ignore the Supreme Court's overturn of Roe v. Wade. How's that? Does that work for you? I'm going to post this right on your timeline, Chip, right on Twitter. Because it seems to me, if you guys on the right don't have to pay attention to the Supreme Court, that none of us should have to pay attention to their bullshit either. And speaking of the Supreme Court, apparently the MAGA people are really pissed off at Amy Coney Barrett because she sided in favor of having those killer deterrents dismantled. This, by the way, after a woman and 2 children drowned in the Rio Grande because Mr. Abbott, the governor, would not allow the feds to get close enough to try to help those people. That should be grounds for removal from office. That is fucking negligent homicide, in my opinion. I don't care if they're migrants. They're human beings. But getting back to Amy Coney Barrett, MAGA's all pissed off now. All the MAGA people are all out there railing about Amy Coney Barrett having sold us out. Look, I don't know how you understand the Supreme Court, but it seems to have taken a turn to where the people in the GOP and their supporters, the voters, think that the Supreme Court is there as an extension of GOP policy. That's not what it's for. You stack the court, and it's helping you out a great deal when it shouldn't be helping you out. It's making decisions that it shouldn't be making, but it is not a political extension of your party. In fact, it's not supposed to be political at all. It is supposed to interpret the fucking law and the Constitution. but it is not here to carry out every single thing you want to do legislatively or otherwise. So get a clue and shut the fuck up. You're winning more than you should. So be happy with it. Christ. And finally, let's continue on with this border discussion. Only because I hear a lot of grousing going on. You know, there is no way to fix the border to the GOP satisfaction, because essentially what the GOP wants to do is close the borders completely and deport everybody here that doesn't belong here. They don't want to work on a path for citizenship for people. They don't want any of that. And they don't want, bring me your poor, bring me your, they don't want people here looking for a better life. They don't want people who are running maybe from countries where they can be killed because of political violence, or countries where you can't live anymore because the weather is so extreme and the conditions are so extreme. This is only going to get worse, folks. It's not going to get any better. We have Joe Biden offered a border solution the very week he was elected. And right now we have Lindsey Graham, a GOP senator, telling the GOP House that they are not going to get a better border deal even if Donald Trump is elected. Why is that? Because you know what? The Democrats aren't going to let them have what they want no matter who's elected. Because it isn't what should be happening. They want a path to citizenship for people who are here. And they want a workable immigration plan that doesn't shut the borders down completely. We have not been that country ever. And the border has never been secure. So this isn't a new event with Joe Biden. By the way, Donald Trump let in more people than anybody before him. We should bring that point up as well. Now, I really do think that someday there's going to be a major turn here, because someday there is going to be a day when maybe some of us can't live in this country anymore comfortably. And we may be looking for a way to get out, either because we've turned fascist or because global warming hurts our country as well. There are no borders in global warming. So, in all reality, the truth of the matter is that the GOP does not want to cooperate on the border, because Mike Johnson made it very clear, we're not going to be able to fix the border until Donald Trump gets elected. So essentially, they're refusing to govern. They have a solution in front of them. Lindsey Graham saying they're not going to get a better deal anywhere. And MAGA is running the show. The tail is wagging the dog. And that's the problem with the Republican Party. Before I close out, you know what? I just had a thought. Today, Vladimir Putin made overtones about how he wants Alaska back. All of you Putinistas out there who think he's just a great guy. Well, he's not going to get Alaska back anyway. But this brings up a thought about Texas. We fucking stole Texas from Mexico. If they're unhappy here and they're out there yelling secession now, why don't we just give Mexico Texas? Why don't we just give them back and build the wall around them? I don't know. It seems to me if they're talking about secession because of Amy Coney Barrett's defection to the other side, then we can just give them back to Mexico. Kill two birds with one stone. No border problem for Texas. They'll be where they belong. And by the way, you know what? I think that would be just the perfect solution all the way around. And the next time their grid fails or they have a hurricane, they can go to the Mexican government with their hands out looking for money. But they're not going to be able to come back here. You secede, you're on your own. Remember that. We've already seen how great your grid system is. So if I were you, I'd shut the fuck up. I'll talk to you all later.